Hello and welcome to episode 111 of Driver's Seat Blog Radio. As always, I'm your host, David G. Firestone. Before we get to the news this week, I'm going to say congratulations to Raja Karuth, who has proven yet again that despite what a lot of racist, ignorant, dumb fucks think, African Americans have a place in NASCAR. With that said, I got a lot of racing stories, and I'm going to start with NASCAR for the first segment. Now, this one kind of doesn't surprise me, but NASCAR and Xfinity are in current negotiations over the future of the sponsorship of the Xfinity Series, with the current deal ending after the 2024 season. So, what I'm thinking is going to happen is a new deal will come through this year. I think Xfinity may stay on, but given the business partnership and the $4.4 billion deal for NBC and NASCAR, the finances may be an issue. Now, another option is nobody really knows what the terms of the title sponsorship are, but it's also kind of too early to predict what would happen. But I'm thinking there's a lot of people who would like to see the Xfinity Series should be more like the NASCAR Cup Series in terms of instead of one major sponsor, there's four minor sponsors, which is good for retaining sponsors that they don't have to pay as much money, which is always a good thing. So I think what's going to happen is something similar to the NASCAR Grand National Series will take place with a small group of sponsors, and that would be the best move to make. Now that's if Xfinity doesn't resign. Now moving on to the Cup Series. I don't normally like to talk about unsubstantiated reports, but there is a report that NASCAR may hold Cup Series races in both Mexico and Canada in 2025. According to sportsnut.com, link in the description, quote, it seems more likely than not that the NASCAR Cup Series will feature races in both Canada and Mexico next season, while also remaining in the coveted Southern California market in some capacity. NASCAR came close to inking a deal to race in Montreal, Quebec at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve this summer, but they just couldn't get the deal across the figurative finish line before the deadline. Instead, that date went to the NASCAR-owned Iowa Speedway, an inaugural event that series officials insist was always in the pipeline anyway. The Truck Series previously raced at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, more commonly known as Mosport in Bowmanville, Ontario. This could be an attractive option for series officials as well. Meanwhile, NASCAR just completed a 3-year run of hosting the Busch Clash at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. That event became even more important this year because the nearby 2-mile Auto Club Speedway is being partially demolished, with the sanctioning body planning to reconfigure it into a half-mile short track and selling off the remainder of its valuable property. Now, it's expected that NASCAR will pursue taking the Clash to Mexico in 2025, and without getting into specifics, NASCAR President Steve Phelps appeared on the Daytona 500 pre-race show and teased 2 international Cup Series races for next season. Quote, I have nothing to announce today, but I would be surprised next year if we didn't go north of the border and we didn't go south of the border, Phelps said. He also anticipates the series remaining in Southern California to some capacity. Quote, the Southern California market is important to NASCAR. In fact, it's the second most popular market we have next to New York. Racing in Southern California, we're not going to miss a year, and I think the other place we are committed there, where Auto Club Speedway is out in Fontana, we kept a 100-acre parcel to build a track there. Now, as I said before, it's also very unlikely that the renovated Fontana will be ready for next season, and the nearby half-mile short track in Irwindale isn't likely to host such an event either. End quote. So, given that the NASCAR Mexico Series and the NASCAR Canada Series are proven popular, and they've also proven to provide great racing, is what I'm trying to say. Bringing a Cup Series to one of these two markets will bring some more eyeballs to the product, and I think that what NASCAR needs is something fresh, and this might be one of those fresh approaches. Now, as much as I liked the Clash at the Coliseum, I really did, I always felt that the lack of pit stops hampered the on-track action. Now, there are plenty of tracks in Mexico that could better host the Clash, same thing with Canada. I have a feeling it's going to happen, but I just want to see where they're going to go and when, and I look forward to hearing more about these moves. So, Our next story has a major shakeup at NBC NASCAR. Now, earlier in the year, it was seemingly a given that Dale Earnhardt Jr. would re-sign with NBC for the 2024 NASCAR season, but now it appears that Jr. will be taking 2024 off and signing with Amazon and Warner Brothers Discovery for 2025 as part of the new NASCAR deal. Now, I hate the streaming aspect of this deal. I hate the streaming-only aspect of this deal. I've had much disdain for this new deal. That said, bringing Jr. on as a broadcaster is, well, the best possible move. Since I think really, outside of maybe Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, his star power is unrivaled. And it makes sense for Amazon and Warner Brothers Discovery because if they're going to make this succeed, they should go for broke and get a lot of talent and star power in to bring in as many fans as possible. And as I said, I hate the streaming only aspect of this new deal, and I think it's going to hurt NASCAR in the long run. But anything that they can do to get fans in the door or to sign up for streaming services is good. Now, this next one I've been sitting on for a while, but apparently, even though they've been sort of going bankrupt seemingly every few years, Chuck E. Cheese Pizza has enough money to fund a deal with Hendrick Motorsports. I'm going to read this from an article from Dennis Limmer, Limmer, on retailwire.com, link in the description. Chuck E. Cheese, the popular kids' entertainment and pizza chain, has found a new way to engage its young fans through the fast-paced world of NASCAR racing. Teaming up with the powerhouse racing team Hendrick Motorsports last night, Chuck E. Cheese embarked on a journey that's now entered its second year, bringing the thrill of the track to its loyal customers. The latest endeavor in this exciting partnership is the They Win You Win promotion, which promises double the excitement and double the prizes compared to last year. Participants can now win free e-tickets based on the performance of Hendrick Motorsports drivers. The rules are simple. If a team secures a spot in the top 3, lucky fans can earn up to 1,750 tickets each week. To take part, all one needs to do is register in the promo online. But that's not all. Chuck E. Cheese and Hendrick Motorsports are taking the excitement up a notch with the Racing World Sweepstakes. Fans have the chance to win coveted prizes like a VIP race experience or the ultimate birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, all with a simple online entry. The article goes on. Beyond the contests and giveaways, this partnership is all about creating immersive experiences from co-themed kid-friendly racing content on YouTube to a range of new licensed products. The collaboration aims to bring the excitement of the racetrack directly to Chuck E. Cheese's patrons. The merchandise lineup includes everything from t-shirts and hats to collectible Chuck E. Cheese die-cast cars, catering to both children and adults alike. These will not only be available at Chuck E. Cheese, but also throughout various retailers such as Hendrick Motorsports Shop, New Era Caps, Target, Amazon, and Walmart. Moreover, the fun does not stop online. Chuck E. Cheese and Hendrick Motorsports will be rolling out a co-branded Racing World video content on the official Chuck E. Cheese YouTube channel throughout the season, ensuring that fans can stay engaged and immersed in adrenaline-fueled world of NASCAR, end quote. So, let me get a drink of water. So first off, outside of the bankruptcies, I haven't really heard much about Chuck E. Cheese, outside of the fact that during the pandemic, they were operating ghost kitchens under the name Pasquale's Pizza and Wings. Now, granted, as financially devastating as the pandemic was for them, I can understand this logic. I can't really blame him in that respect. And I do like the ticket reward when Hendrick's teams do well. I think Hendrick needs an infusion of cash, and I think this is a smart move to make. But I went to the Chuck E. Cheese website just to do a little more research on this. And I saw the merch that they have on offer, and it's meh. Not great, not terrible, just average. It's more or less just typical Hendrick Motorsports merch with Chuck E. Cheese branding slapped on top of it. But I also love that at the time of recording, you can pre-order the official Chuck E. Cheese cookbook. So you can have all of the mediocre pizza without the arcade games, because really, why would you want to play arcade games when you can just eat mediocre pizza? Seriously, who thought this was a good idea? I get that companies are doing cookbooks nowadays, but just stick with your core fan base, please. So, with that, I'm going to take my break, and then I'll continue with some non-NASCAR news. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's get to some non-NASCAR news. Now, we start with the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. First off, they introduced a very fun trivia fact that 61 years ago, the NHRA created the red light foul, and they posted some of the most important red lights in NHRA history. I highly suggest you go check out that video. But second, starting with this week's Gator Nationals, the Nitro categories, Top Fuel and Funny Car, are going to be facing stiffer penalties for crossing the center line. Now, the new penalties are as follows. From Gainesville to Indianapolis, and it's clarified that it's from 0 to 1,320 feet. We'll get to that in a second. The new penalties are as follows. First violation of the season will result in a loss of 10 NHRA series points and a $1,000 monetary fine. A second violation will consist of a loss of 20 points and a $2,000 monetary fine. And all subsequent violations will result in 30. All subsequent violations will start with 30 points and a $3,000 monetary fine. Now, this is only up until Indianapolis, and I'll discuss that in just a second. From Reading to Sonoma, again, 0 to 1,320 feet, the first violation of the season will result in a $1,000 fine, the second violation a $2,000 fine, and the third violation a $3,000 fine from there on out. Now, it might seem like there's two different sets of rules at play here, and there are, because Indianapolis is the cutoff point for the playoff season. So what I think the NHRA doesn't want to do is have somebody locked in, or say that they're locked in only to have a point fine unlock them and make the water muddier. So I agree with that. I agree with that. But I do think also it could be a dumb move. I think it should just be a constant set throughout the season. And I do think it's good that the NHRA is going out of their way to protect the safety of their drivers. Now, we're going to move on to IndyCar. So let's talk about Nashville, specifically the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Now, it was announced that it will be moved from the Nashville Street Circuit to the Nashville Speedway. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm really tired, which is a 1.333 mile tri-oval. And it happened because of a number of different factors. And it's going to serve as the season finale for at least a few years, though how long this will last is unknown. Now, I'm not a fan of the downtown Nashville Street Circuit. I'm not a fan of downtown street circuits in general. But I'm also not sold on the idea of the IndyCar season finale being held at an oval. I think the championship should be decided on a road course or a street course. But with that said, downtown street courses, while they can be intriguing and fun to watch, are a pain in the ass to locals. Believe me, I know a lot of people who either live in or near downtown Chicago, and they were not happy with the Chicago street race. And the less said about Las Vegas and the way they handle their race, the better. Moving the race to an already established oval is a much more manageable option, but I think it would be better if you just had it like a Sonoma or Road America, or just any road course. Now, how this race will go down is yet to be seen, but I still think it should be a road course. So we're going to stick with IndyCar for this next one. Indianapolis Motor Speedway had to make a number of announcements concerning trademarks recently, and this comes from Arthur Weinstein of Awful announcing, link in the description. Quote, "There are many great motorsports events worldwide, but the Indy 500 is clearly the greatest spectacle in racing. That's not an opinion, that's an actual trademark Indianapolis Motor Speedway has had since 1986, and track president Doug Boyles has issued a pointed reminder to ESPN and other networks that he says have used improperly used that slogan for their events. Motorsport.com reports that F1's biggest broadcast partner, ESPN, used the greatest spectacle in motorsports in a season preview trailer, and a NASCAR social media post used the greatest spectacle in racing to describe the Daytona 500, although the post in question was quickly deleted. Variations of that spectacle trademark have been used in promotions for Grand Prix events in Las Vegas and Miami. Boyles told Motorsport.com that Indianapolis Motor Speedway will take every measure possible to protect its trademark. Quote, "We are aware of the use of our mark in what appears to be broadcast promotional spot," said Boyles. "We will once again address this with the appropriate people and are prepared to take every measure to protect our brand's intellectual property. The slogan has become," end quote. "The slogan has become synonymous with the Speedway and its marquee event, the Indy 500. Now, call me crazy, but why would you risk a massive lawsuit against something that's so easily provable? I mean, it's not like this was just trademarked last week. It's been in place for 38 years. How did you not know that? And ESPN doesn't even have the... ESPN is stupid because they were the Indy 500 broadcaster from 1965 to 2018. How you could just not... How you, as a major company... Like, it's not like me saying something is a great spectacle. These are major corporations who you'd think would have the legal and resources to figure out, okay, maybe we shouldn't say this and put us at risk of a lawsuit. But then again, I tend to think things, but it's just me. I don't know how people could be so dumb in 2024, but it's perplexing. But I think also the human race is getting dumber. Speaking of which, let's talk about Sky Sports. Now, as I said, Sky Sports is the partner of ESPN when they show Formula One. Last season, they decided to hire Danica Patrick for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, much to the chagrin of the F1 audience. This led to a lot of fans protesting her being on that telecast. Well, Sky Sports decided to keep her on for telecast for 2024. She is not good as a broadcaster. She's not insightful, she's not clever, she's not witty, her voice could peel the paint off a wall. And she's also, outside of her telecasts, a raging narcissist who loves giving platforms to conspiracy theorists, climate change deniers, anti-vaxxers, and other nut jobs, where she comes across as more Alex Jones and Barbara Walters. But what she doesn't seem to realize is when you give these guys platforms, you'd better be prepared to be attached to them. Okay? You want to brand yourself a supporter of alternate theories, that's your decision. But don't think for a second that that makes you immune when shit goes south. I mean, look at what happened with Alex Jones. Look at what happened with Rudy Giuliani. Lies cost a lot of money. So if you're going to give these guys a platform, you better be prepared to take the heat. And I think Sky Sports should think very carefully about if they want to be attached to her, because she really doesn't bring much and she could cause a lot of problems. But again, don't hire real talent, just hire somebody that can't get television work in the US because everyone hates her. Good move, Sky Sports. Good move. With that, Episode 111 comes to an end, and I'll be back next week. I'm Dave Frez on the Evil Like, Comment, and Subscribe, and I will see you then.